The circle of nine. Every group, family, company, tribe, or community instinctively tries to stabilize itself using nine essential functions. These functions aren't optional, they show up whether anyone names them or not. The problem is, in most systems, one or two people end up carrying the entire load. That works for a while, but eventually it burns out. Some functions become exaggerated, like authority or productivity, while others vanish, like protection or clarity. When that happens, the structure becomes brittle, top heavy, and eventually breaks. The circle of nine isn't about giving power to more people. It's about distributing weight the way human design and human nervous systems were meant to distribute it. Each of the nine is a pressure point. Miss even one for long, and distortion begins. Every era, every culture, every team is wired this way. The only question is whether the circle is conscious or accidental. Conscious circles move with clarity and strength. Accidental circles crack under pressure and lose the thread. You can see this most clearly in the Apollo program. NASA never mapped the circle of nine, but they lived it. They had an anchor in Gene Kranz, holding the unmoving center. They had a witness in Chris Kraft, seeing every fracture before it opened. They had an interpreter in Deke Slayton, translating engineering truth into human action. They had a shield in Glenn Lunny, creating safety in crisis. They had a hearth in the backroom support teams, keeping the emotional field steady. They had a strategist in Werner von Braun, holding the long arc of what had to be done. They had builders in the Saturn engineering teams, turning vision into structure. They had callers in the astronauts themselves, refusing to let anyone shrink. And they had threshold holders in the Apollo 13 crisis team, walking the line between life and death until the crew crossed through. When later programs lost these roles, lost the shield, the witness, the strategist, the caller, the threshold holder, the crashes followed. Not because NASA got less intelligent, but because the circle collapsed. Now here are the nine essences, the currents that flow through every aligned system, and the nine titles that channel them. Truth expresses itself through the anchor. Clarity expresses itself through the witness. Language expresses itself through the interpreter. Dignity expresses itself through the shield. Connection expresses itself through the hearth. Direction expresses itself through the strategist. Embodiment expresses itself through the builder. Honor expresses itself through the caller. Remembrance expresses itself through the threshold holder. This is the full circle: essence and embodiment, current and channel. Here's how you can tell when one is missing. If the anchor is missing, there's no stable truth. People drift, react, or grab for control. If the witness is missing, tensions build under the surface until they explode. If the interpreter is missing, people feel the truth but can't speak it clearly enough to act. If the shield is missing, dignity becomes unsafe and power games creep in. If the hearth is missing, people feel like outsiders in their own group. If the strategist is missing, motion stalls. No timing, no arc, no direction. If the builder is missing, ideas never take form. If the caller is missing, people shrink, hide, or coast. If the threshold holder is missing, no one can cross from despair into movement. And here's how you recognize these roles in people without asking them, without titles, without guessing. The anchor is the one whose truth doesn't move. When everyone else is scattered, they return the room to what's real. The witness is the one who sees the fracture before anyone else. They read the undercurrent instantly and accurately. The interpreter is the one who gives language to the unspoken. Others say, "Yes, that's exactly what I meant." The shield is the one who makes the space safe. Manipulators and bullies won't dare try anything when they're present. The hearth is the one who softens the room. When they walk in, people relax. The pressure drops. The strategist is the one who sees timing and long arc direction. Their guidance feels eerily right in hindsight. The builder is the one who makes things real. After they touch something, it stops being abstract. The caller is the one who refuses to let people shrink. They challenge without cruelty, and people rise around them. The threshold holder is the one who stands at the moment of crossing. They don't fix you, they accompany you through. People move through their hardest transitions only when this person is near. This is the circle of 9. This is why systems thrive or collapse. This is the circuitry every human group is unconsciously reaching for. And this is the map that has never been written until now. Circle of 9, the threshold holder. The threshold holder is the one person without whom the circle won't activate. When this role is missing, nothing stabilizes. Not emotionally, architecturally. This is the signature of the threshold holder. They are the hinge. Without the hinge, the door doesn't swing. A hearth is important, but a circle can survive without one for a season. It may feel colder, but it will still function. But without the threshold holder, a circle never truly forms. It cannot cross. The threshold holder is not the leader, not the glue, not the savior. They are the breaker of stagnation, the crossing point, the moment where everything before becomes everything after. Without them, no circle transitions, no circle heals, no circle moves from potential into embodiment. No circle re-enters alignment after trauma. No new era begins. They are the gate. And you see this pattern everywhere throughout history. In tribes, the shaman or grief keeper. In elite teams, the presence that stabilizes the crisis moment. In spiritual orders, the one who guards initiation. In every high-performing unit, the person whose arrival marks the moment of crossing moment. Every functioning circle carries this 9th current, whether anyone names it or not. When it's absent, the system freezes at the threshold. When it's present, alignment becomes possible, movement becomes inevitable, and the new chapter begins.